Okay, time to go 180 on this hunk of wood. It has been 180'd. 180 is done. Hi, Judd here. Back on the Cypress knee project, I wanted to point out a couple of things, pass on a little bit of things. I did a little more sanding on this. I did it off camera. You know, as I was sanding this, I went this way. Well, at a certain point, you're dealing with the fibers that are getting smaller and smaller each time you sand. And at a certain point, they lay down into whatever gully they've been cut out of. So what you want to do is, after you've done the full sanding like this, go about 30 degrees, 15 to 30 degrees off of the grain direction. That will cut off those little pieces that stick up that you can't even see, but they decrease from the gloss of the piece. Okay, so you want your straight sanding, and then you go a little bit off light. It's always light. All your sanding is light, or you just dull the paper. Now, the second thing I wanted to show you, okay, this is if you're getting really fussy, is after you've sanded it, dampen it. And I don't mean put it in a bucket of water, I mean dampen it, because that will raise the grain. And not so much on Cypress. I was wondering if this would work on Cypress, because this wood grows in water. But on pine and certain other woods, you'll notice this a lot. That'll raise the grain, then you give it another sanding, and you do that a couple of times, and you get it super smooth. We let that dry out first before we sand it again. So those are just a couple of sanding tricks I want to pass on. A good look at the wet piece, which also brings out the color of the wood. That is becoming a very pretty piece of wood. These phone cameras are amazing. Okay, as you can see, it's wet out, but the Cypress knee has now dried, and this camera doesn't show as well as the phone camera, but maybe you can see it's a little bit fuzzy now, just ever so slightly. So now again, what I'm going to do is resand this at 180 with a little bit of cross grain action. Basically almost polishing at this point, especially after the wetness, doing the wetness. Oh, you can see that. I can see that. God, I hope that shows up on the camera. I mean, you see that one spot I did, how much whiter that is than the fuzzy. Oh, baby, yeah. Wow. Oh, man. Wow. Wow. I hope that shows up on camera, man. You see the difference between where I wet it and haven't sanded it, and where I wet it and have sanded it. Okay, we'll have another look at this when I'm all done with the resanding at 180. But take my word for it, if you can't see it, I don't know how to describe it. This is better. Ha ha! Now, can you tell where I've already resanded and where it's just been treated with water? difference in touch is quite noticeable. Okay, so have just finished the 180 sanding of the after wetted surface. There you go.